I am a woman and I am going to talk about a sport that I really love. But if that's not something you can handle, no hard feelings, and thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in episode 3, yeah? Moving on. The Cambridge Dictionary defines obsessed as an adjective which means unable to stop thinking about something, too interested in or worried about something. And guess what? Everyone's got at least one thing they're truly obsessed with. And I've been told that there are healthy and unhealthy obsessions, but I'm going to be using this series to introduce you to some of my healthy, quirky, and delightful obsessions and why they have that special place in my life. After all, to know me is to know the things that I'm obsessed with. So here goes something. Season 2, Episode 1. I'm obsessed with Formula 1. I can yap about F1 for hours, and it's all but become a part of my personality. So naturally, when I decided to revive this video series after a gap of 5 years, it was pretty much a no-brainer that I was going to talk about Formula 1 first and foremost. In fact, this one's going to be a two-parter. This first part is going to be about the sport itself and how I came to become such a big fan and why. And part 2 is going to be primarily about Drive to Survive and other F1 content that I really love.
And it's lights out and away we go!
I don't drive a car. I hated physics in school. And I'm barely considered athletic aside from the fact that I played basketball while I was in school for like a couple of years. So what business do I have following a motorsport? Much less the pinnacle of motorsports. Here's the lore. In January 2021, I realized that my very packed routine was missing one thing. I didn't follow a sport. I didn't see myself getting back out there and playing one physically, so it had to be something I watched to get all of my competitive drives out. Cricket was a default for everyone, but I didn't think I wanted to dedicate more time to it. Tennis intimidated me, still intimidates me. I could have also revived my love of football. Back when I was a teenager, I used to follow the EPL and Chelsea was my team of choice. But I also knew that I was this close to punching the next guy that asked me what the offside rule was, even as a joke. From everything I'd heard about F1, it made complete sense. It was a weekend sport, races happened on Sundays, nothing lasted for more than a couple of hours. The sport ran through the whole year and I only had to remember 20 people's names. So for a workaholic looking to catch a break, this was a dream. But where was I supposed to get started? A couple of my friends who followed the sport, I decided to ask them for advice. They directed me to Netflix and Drive to Survive as a primer for where the grid was at the time. Aside from that, because I wanted to be a full nerd about the sport, I decided to go back and rewatch like older iconic races and seasons, find as much archival footage as I could on YouTube. So by the time March 2021 rolled around and the season was about to kick off with the Bahrain Grand Prix, I was fully set. Since then, I've never missed a race or a session. Practices, sprint, qualifying, main races, sprint races, you name it, I've watched it. And honestly, it didn't matter what time or place. Why? Because I was hooked immediately. Little did I know I'd picked one hell of a season to start with, what with that Max and Lewis title battle. But honestly, at the core of it, F1 appeals to my cutthroat competitive side. Back when I was in school and college, I competed across as many events as possible, especially in public speaking and drama and the like. And I always wanted to get the top spot no matter what I tried. And watching these high performance athletes who start out really early in their lives and some of whom even left their houses at the age of 13 and 14 to go all the way to Europe and make it in the big leagues, that kind of mentality really resonated with me. F1 is an extremely dangerous sport and it demands high precision, ultimate perfection, and the reward for that is the thrill of hitting peak performance and the glory that comes with it. That is my kind of playground. And the fact that only 20 people get to do this in a whole year, that kind of exclusivity is hard to not find charming. It's also a unique sport in its structure. On track, it's every driver for themselves. But in fact, they have a whole army and a huge team behind them making sure that they can execute the best possible race. Pit crew, strategists, their management, performance coaches, everyone's involved, and yet it's a single-seater motorsport. And you also have a teammate who once in a while can help hold off other people who are trying to overtake you, or will let you pass and give up a position so you can go ahead and win a championship. But that teammate is also your biggest rival because he's also the only other person on this track in the exact same machinery as you. Outperforming your teammate also comes with massive reward, which is insane to me. And that's why I love it. For the first 2 years that I watched, I didn't even pick a team or a driver to support wholeheartedly. Now, of course, I'm a Red Bull fan and I support Max Verstappen. But I have a soft spot in my heart for a whole bunch of other drivers on the grid. I love Ollie Behrman, I love Fernando Alonso, I love smooth operator Carlos Sainz. I even like Isaac Hajar and Gabriel Bortoleto, and I want to see what they can do further. I have to say this, and it's very important, that the love of the sport will always be greater than whether my favorites do well or not. I would rather Max Verstappen lost an absolute banger of a race than won a super boring one. The racing is the reward. Everything else is just bonus. But more than anything, I think what F1 gave me was a community of like-minded people. I've met so many people and made some friends at like screenings and community meetups, and it's been nice to find people who I can scream at a screen with when my friends or my partners or my family won't get in on the action. Fun fact, I actually lost my voice for 3 days after the Abu Dhabi GP in 2021. No regrets, because Max won his first world title, so I guess we'll call it even. My obsession with F1 definitely peaked when I found myself trackside for the first time in Singapore in September 2023. And as we were walking in, I watched Max Verstappen's Red Bull roar past me. I actually heard it before I saw it. But the second I did, I fully burst into tears. That was an experience so nice. I actually did it twice, and I went back for the same race in 2024. I fully want to sync my vacation plans with the F1 calendar sometime in the future, where I can travel across the world, explore different countries, and do something I love in the process. Anyone game? This 2025 season is going to end in a couple of weeks' time. You're probably going to find me rewatching old races or DTS episodes to fill that hole in my heart when there's no F1 action for 100 odd days. For the uninterested and the uninitiated, it can fully feel like 20 cars go fast, vroom, vroom in circles for 2 hours. And maybe that's all F1 is. But damn, it's certainly a major highlight in my life. So, will you join me in my obsession? Or was this a hard pass for you? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of the second season of Obsessed. Yes, we're back for 8 whole episodes after a 5-year hiatus. So drop a like and share the video if you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.